When I married David, I believed life was finally turning a corner. After a painful divorce and years of raising my daughter, Ellie, on my own, meeting him was like a second chance I didn't know I needed. David had a son from his previous marriage, Jason, a quiet and thoughtful 17-year-old who seemed mature beyond his years. At first, blending our families was easier than I imagined. Ellie, who was 15 at the time, quickly grew fond of Jason. He had a calmness about him that balanced her fiery teenage moods. I saw it as a blessing. Maybe even fate. David and I worked hard to build a stable home. He was an architect, meticulous and grounded, while I worked as a school counselor, someone who prided herself on reading between the lines. But nothing prepared me for what would come. Looking back, I sometimes wonder if the signs were there all along: subtle shifts, unexplained tension, the way Jason sometimes watched people like he was trying to memorize their reactions. Still, I never imagined the secret he was hiding. And how devastating its discovery would be for all of us. It started with small things. Jason had always been private, but then he became secretive. Locked doors, deleted messages, and hushed phone calls late at night. I chalked it up to typical teenage behavior. But one afternoon, while David was out of town on a work trip, I came home early from work and found Ellie crying in her room. Her face was pale, and she clutched her phone like it was something dangerous. "What happened?" I asked, my heart immediately tight with worry. She hesitated, clearly wrestling with something bigger than just a fight with a friend. I think Jason's in trouble," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. I sat beside her on the bed. "What kind of trouble?" She opened her phone and showed me a series of messages she had accidentally seen when Jason left his phone on the couch. Screenshots. Some messages were vague, but others hinted at something much more serious. Conversations about a plan, mentions of someone Jason referred to only as T, and phrases like "we're doing it Friday, no going back." At first, I thought maybe it was drugs, or maybe he was being bullied and planning something irrational. But then one message hit me like a gut punch. Once they know the truth about her, they'll finally understand why I have to do this. I didn't know who her was. Me? Ellie? Someone from school? The room started spinning. I knew I had to act carefully. I made copies of the messages and decided to speak with Jason directly. That night, I knocked on his door and asked to talk. He looked startled, almost like he'd been expecting this moment. Still, he agreed. We sat in the kitchen, the room eerily quiet except for the hum of the fridge. I saw some messages. "Jason. I need you to be honest with me. What's going on?" He stared at me for a long moment. His jaw clenched. "You shouldn't have gone through my stuff." "I didn't. Ellie found them. She was worried about you." Something in him softened at Ellie's name, but it quickly vanished. He leaned forward. "You want to know what's going on? Fine. The truth. I've been lying to everyone. Including you. Especially you." The tension in my chest tightened. "Lying about what?" He took a breath, but his hands trembled slightly. "My mom didn't leave us because she couldn't handle the divorce. She left because of what I told her. I lied about my dad. I told her he hurt me." I gasped. "What? Why would you?" "Because I hated him," Jason cut in, his voice rising. "He got full custody. He married you. He started a new family. I wasn't enough for him." His words hit me like a slap. Everything I knew about my husband was being shaken at the roots. "But Jason, he loved you. He fought for you." He shook his head. "That's not what it felt like. When I realized I'd made it all up, it was too late. She was gone. My mom disappeared. No one knows where she is. Not even Dad. And I've been carrying that guilt ever since." I sat there, stunned, unsure what to say. Jason was unraveling in front of me. "But it doesn't stop there," he said, his voice lowering to a whisper. "I found her." "What?" "I tracked her down online. She lives in Arizona. New name. New life. She thinks I ruined hers. And I did. I reached out, and she refused to talk to me." Tears welled in his eyes now. "I was going to go see her. Make her understand. Tell her the truth. Maybe she'd forgive me. Maybe she wouldn't. But I had to try. Everything he had done, the secret messages, the vague plans, they all made sense now. But that didn't make it less terrifying. He'd lived with this for years. Alone. David returned the next day. I told him everything, bracing for the worst. He sat silently as I recounted what Jason told me. For a long time, he didn't say anything. Then he got up, walked outside, and stood on the porch for what felt like hours. I found him there just staring at nothing. I always wondered, he finally said. When she left, it broke something in me. I tried to believe her. But a part of me knew she wouldn't leave Jason unless something felt deeply wrong. Now I know, and it still hurts. We both knew what we had to do. Jason needed help. Real help. Therapy, guidance, a support system beyond just our household. We arranged for him to see a counselor and started family sessions. But damage, once done, leaves scars. David never looked at his son the same way again. Not out of hate, but a kind of heartbreak that never fully healed. Our home became quiet. Even Ellie withdrew, unsure how to process what had happened. She avoided Jason, afraid of the depth of his secret and what it had cost everyone. As for me, I tried to hold us all together, but something had shifted in our foundation. Weeks turned into months. Jason's therapy sessions grew intense. He cried a lot. He admitted to the emotional confusion he carried for years. The weight of guilt over breaking apart his family had turned him inward, trapping him in anger and silence. His mother never responded to his letters, even after he apologized. That crushed him more than anything else. One night, as we sat at the dinner table in silence, Jason looked up and said, "I know I destroyed everything. But I'm still glad the truth is out. At least I'm not hiding anymore." David nodded but didn't speak. I could see in his eyes he wanted to forgive, but the pain was too fresh. Ellie got up and left the table without a word. I remained, watching the boy I once thought was a calm, steady presence now revealed as someone who had been drowning in pain. Over time, the wounds began to close, but not all of them healed. Jason eventually moved out after graduation and chose a college across the country. We supported him, but there was distance, emotional, unspoken. He called sometimes, emailed on birthdays and holidays, but things were never quite the same. David and I stayed together, but our marriage changed. We loved each other, yes, but the weight of Jason's secret created a fracture neither of us could repair completely. Trust, once cracked, leaves hairline fractures that even time can't always mend. Sometimes I sit in the living room and stare at old family photos. I see the smiles, the joy, the illusion of peace. And I wonder if we ever truly knew each other. Or if we were all just pretending, each hiding secrets behind carefully crafted smiles.